Hello and welcome to From the Inside Out with Ashley. I am so excited today to have the amazing Kynya Jarmon. She is a certified colon hydrotherapist and owner of Clean Touch Colonics and a great friend of mine. She's an amazing woman full of knowledge. I just love her spirit and how it just takes a very special person to be able to be a colon hydrotherapist. And she helps people feel comfortable, very patient, and even gets a few laughs in there too. So I'm excited to have you on here, Kenya. Thanks for joining me. She's
Thanks for
my
having me.
first guest.
Yay!
And so we're going to talk all about colons today. So
Yes.
very excited. So first, I'm just going to have you just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, why you started doing this, like what would make you get into being a colon hydrotherapist?
A poop princess.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I basically the journey started. I became a therapist because of my own journey with digestive dysfunction. Being constipated all my life, but just not really understanding why and how to why I needed to fix the issue and how to fix my digestive issues. And then just desperation led me into doing a colonic, tired of going to the doctors, getting the same quick remedy without any like true help to it. So and I just stumbled upon a colonic. I was just like, okay, how do I get rid of this constipation today? And so found colonics at a place near me, out here in the DFW area, and I went, and it was completely changed my life. That was almost 7 years ago. I did my first colonics. But I became a therapist 3 years ago because I still dealing with my gut health, my own, chronic battle with endometriosis, wanting to help fix my gut. I just saw a need in the community and felt like, I want to fulfill that need. And so went to the school, got my certifications, and then, decided to open up a clinic here in Mansfield. So that is
Love it.
my story.
So what kind of things, as far as your health, I know you said endometriosis, what other like symptoms were you having? Just so in case there's somebody out there that can kind of
Yeah.
relate to what you were going through and they may be going through the same thing and this might be a solution for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was dealing with what most of us women deal with, that we just relate to women issues, which, I found later were, related to my gut. But, uh, pain during, my menstrual period, heavy bleeding. I had a partial hysterectomy at 39, or sorry,
Oh,
at
wow.
40, I did. And so because I had cysts on my ovaries, they were never going away, constantly there. I dealt with brain fog, fatigue, skin issues, always had issues with my back, always had back pain, constant back pain, lower back pain. And of course, every time I went to the doctors, it was always chalked up to, a strain or an injury, something. I don't know how many trips to the emergency room, with severe abdominal pain when, they'll x-ray or do a CT scan, and they just see that my bowels are completely overloaded with waste. So those things, just everyday things in my body that were a constant battle, but were, ultimately associated with just the waste sitting in my colon.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of people listening that have some of the same symptoms and getting the same results where they just don't know where it's coming from. So I know this is going to be super helpful for them. So let's just jump right in there and tell us, like, what is colon hydrotherapy? Because so many, I get that asked that so many times, and I know you do too. People
Yeah.
call in, what is this? So
Yeah.
what is it and how does it work?
Yeah, so colon hydrotherapy, also known as colonics, it is a process of cleaning out your large intestines or your colon with warm filtered water. And so there are two types of colonics. We run what's called an open colonic session, and so I'll just specifically talk on that one. But I guess I should have grabbed some props. But there's a very small nozzle that's inserted into the rectum, and that's how the water gets introduced into the colon. So water goes into the colon, it softens the waste so that you can naturally eliminate it through the natural peristalsis or contraction of your colon. So it's a 45-minute session. And that's it. It's basically, it's cleansing out the large intestines. Yeah.
Awesome. And yes, I have experienced it and I
Mhm.
love it. And I will just say from my own experience, I was very nervous to do it for the first time because it's just fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
But once you get in there and do it, and then Kenya just, I mean, hopefully, we already have people listening from all over the place, but hopefully you can find someone who is as amazing as Kenya is here with her clients. But just, it is a great experience. It sounds weird, but it really is a great experience. So tell us what are some of the primary benefits and how can it contribute to someone's health and wellness overall, because that's what we're all about here on From the Inside Out podcast. Is we want to help you feel good on the inside just so you can be the best on the outside. And this is definitely talking about the insides and
Yeah.
getting the insides clean out. So what would you say are the primary benefits and how it can contribute to somebody's overall health and wellness?
Yeah, absolutely. So, outside of the obvious primary benefit of getting, stored waste out of the colon, and just so, we mentioned this, colonics is not just for people that deal with constipation. That was my issue. But it's a whole body detox. So the colon is one of the largest elimination organs in the body. And aids in detoxification. So a lot of toxins get dumped into the colon. And so sometimes they can sit there, even if you're having regular bowel movement. So, number one, it's a major detox on your body. And so it's going to, help move all those things out, move the waste out, and move the toxins with it. Um, some of the major some of the major benefits that people describe, like right away, you're going to, feel a lot lighter, less bloated, potentially lose some weight. It could be an average of a 2-pound weight loss per session.
Wow.
Um, so that's a definite benefit. And all kind of things happen health wise when you drop weight, and so, and it's more than just water weight that you're dropping. These are literal pounds of waste that's sitting in your body that you're moving out. Um, People with a whole host of health conditions benefit. I mean, I can't even, go through the entire list, but if you have a medical condition, colonics is probably most likely going to help you. But,
It's
just,
basically like cleaning the pipes, right?
it's,
Like
yeah, basically
getting
like,
at home, cleaning the pipes out, like everything
yeah,
moves
yeah. So it's
better
the
in the
same
body.
with the car, you,
Oh yeah, the
yeah,
car.
you get an oil change on your vehicle, periodically, and it helps to just move the junk out through your vehicle and keep it running as it needs to. And that's the same thing, what the colonics is designed to do, is to help move those things out, help you to move those things out, whether they're moving on their own or they are. Sometimes you still need a little bit of help, especially in the environment that we're currently living in.
Yes, all of our toxic food and
Yeah,
things that we're putting in our body.
absolutely.
So I'm sure that you get a lot of people that are have misconceptions about colonics. What
Yeah.
are some common misconceptions that people have told you that or that you've heard about colonics? I'm sure you've heard it all.
Yeah, yeah, I have, and mainly it's just, well, yeah, not knowing the unknown, and that's, I guess, with anything that we
Yeah.
do. But um, one, misconception or thing, people say is that, it washes away your good bacteria,
Oh yeah.
and so, that's the main one that I hear, is that, oh, well, I was told not to do this because it's going to wash away my good bacteria. And, I just want, people to know, like, your body is full of bacteria. We're just built up of bacteria.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yes, there's good and bad bacteria that live in the colon, but if it is going to wash away anything, it's going to wash away both. And we want to wash away the bad bacteria. But,
Right.
I specifically speak to my individuals that are constipated, is that you've got more bad bacteria in your colon than you do good. So if
That's
anything's going to
true.
be washed away, let's wash that bad away. And so, but there's a remedy. If that's the case, if you're going to wash away the good, then you just replace it with probiotic or fiber rich foods, things like that.
And if you have that much poop in there anyway, which is worse,
Right,
to
exactly.
wash away the bacteria or
Yeah,
be backed up. I know
right,
I've been in that situation before, and it's like I don't care if I'm washing off the good stuff. I want to just get the bad stuff out.
right, exactly. Yeah, because you can replenish the bad quicker than
That's
you.
right.
I mean, the good
Yeah,
quicker
you can
than
get that back in. Yeah, you don't want to
right.
replace the bad.
Exactly. So that,
Um,
and then we'll hear. I'll hear it can perforate the colon,
oh yeah.
and so you know um,
Talk on that for a minute. Like
yeah.
I know you use the open system, so it's a little bit different than a closed system. But just talk on yours, like
Yeah,
what
so with the
your
open
thoughts are on that.
system, the not like the nozzle is very small, doesn't go past the rectum, so it's not gonna the nozzle itself cannot perforate the colon. It's not gonna go far enough to the colon
Mm,
to do any damage. And so, you know, the premise behind that is that as the colon expands and things like that. But there's one certain contraindication, and we could talk more about those. But basically, it's just like if you have a condition, don't do a colonic. And if you've had the one thing, maybe if you had a colonoscopy, then you're filled up with air. You don't want to do that because your colon's already stretched. But the water, when you fill up with water, you're going to want to have a bowel movement, so you're going to release that. So there's no room for error in that aspect of preparation. So the nozzle doesn't go up far enough to puncture anything.
and then it's just like warm water that's
Mhm.
going in
Right.
somebody.
Yeah.
And then is this just like water that's coming out of the wall? Like
Yeah.
what kind of water is
Yeah,
going
so it is filtered. So here at Clean Touch, we only use water. You will find some, if you're in different areas, you'll find some therapists that do additives, but we just use water, and it's purified. So it goes through a carbon filter and a UV filter. So we use a system
Oh,
called the
wow.
Libby. So it's designed to purify the water prior to it going into the body.
Okay, so basically, like water's just going into somebody,
Yeah,
filling them up, and then it's just loosening everything up to come
right.
out.
To come out. Yeah.
Okay, so they're just literally like pooping.
Poop. Yeah, you're
And
literally
are they like sitting on a bucket? Like what?
Yeah,
How?
so the Libby device, it looks like it's like a bed, and you're slightly reclined, and there's a hole in the bottom where your butt sits up in this little hole, and that's where everything goes out. So it's kind of like you're laying on a giant toilet.
Okay.
But the cool thing is there's no odor, there's no smell, there's a fan, it sucks down the odor. So a lot of people are worried when they come in that they're going to smell
You're gonna
something.
stink up the whole room.
Yeah, or they're worried I'm gonna smell something, but there's no smell whatsoever. Like there's no lingering odor. And so that's the cool part. And that and the fact that I do give you lots of privacy when you come here. So
Yeah, that is one thing that I love about the open system is you're just doing your thing by
yeah.
yourself, having your
Mhm.
little poop spa time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
So, what is there any like I know you talked about a few health conditions. Is there anybody specifically that could really benefit from the colonics?
I mean,
Any
again,
specific conditions that you would say?
I mean, everyone with a colon, of a
Yeah.
certain age can benefit from. I mean, definitely, I mostly see a lot of people that deal with constipation, and
Okay.
if constipation, well, if they're constipated, they probably have a whole list of other
That's
medical
true.
conditions or health conditions,
Yeah, that's true.
but that they're dealing with, but don't realize that constipation is actually the root
Mm,
cause.
okay.
And so, we can kind of go along with that hand in hand. Like I haven't found anyone who's not dealing with severe constipation that does not have it. But, specifically then, if people don't realize that constipation is their issue and they have other issues. So I have a lot of clients that come in that have skin issues like
Mm,
eczema or psoriasis,
mm,
because once the colon is decongested and hydrated, that if the colon is backed up and toxic, that's going to push out to the skin. And so, once you start moving things out of the colon, it can help to relieve some of that toxicity from the skin. So a lot of people find that their skin gets more hydrated and they're able to heal better from their psoriasis and eczema. Um,
and a lot
other
of people are dealing with that nowadays too,
Right.
more so than ever I've seen.
Absolutely. I've had some clients that are dealing with some anxiety,
Oh,
issues. So,
okay.
we don't think of it right away as a health
Mhm.
condition, but it actually is. I mean, and that
Yeah,
was one of the things that I dealt with. It was anxiety. And so you hear that, that phrase, trust your gut, like your brain and
mhm.
your gut are connected, and it truly is. And so your brain, your gut is your second brain. And so when your gut is unhealthy, then you can deal with certain conditions like anxiety. And again, I just know from my own personal experience. And so I do have several clients that come in once as they start to heal their gut and get things moved out, then they suffer less from their anxiety. And so
That's awesome. You would never think that it would be, therapy also,
yeah.
like mental
Oh,
therapy also.
it, yeah, we trap a lot of emotions in our gut. And so as you're moving that old stuff out, you get to release some of those emotions also. So colonics can be very emotionally therapeutic.
Wow.
I have clients experience crying spells in their colonic because, again, as you're moving that out, those emotions are coming out. And
Wow.
so, it's a nice,
So you can really get cleaned out from the
really,
inside.
and yeah,
Inside
absolutely,
out, like,
yeah,
mentally, physically, everything.
right.
So constipation, like, I mean, I would never have classified myself as like I'm constipated, but then when I found out what constipation looks like, I'm like I probably have been constipated for many, many years. So when you say constipated, like what does that look like as far as constipation? Like how many bowel movements a day should we have? What should it look like? Like if what would how would somebody know if they're constipated?
Well, Western medicine tells us 2 or 3 times a week is
Oh my
normal.
gosh.
Yeah, I believe
Wow.
so. But there are studies that show 78% of the U.S. population deals with some form of constipation.
Oh my goodness.
78%. I mean, and it's just based on, what we're taking into our body. And
Yeah.
so, but, my definition of constipation is if you're not having at least one bowel movement a day,
Mm,
then you're constipated. And then even, some people think that, oh, I'm running every day. They may have been classified with IBS, but they're having like running bowel movements. Well, that's another form of constipation. So, diarrhea is your body's last ditch effort to get rid of the waste. And so, but yeah, just, I mean, if you're not having one bowel movement, or if you are having a bowel movement and you're struggling to have that bowel movement, it comes out little pellets or you're pushing and it's hard, then you're constipated. And
yeah.
so, someone, like me, before I started working on my gut health, I mean, I would go days, you know, even weeks on end without having a bowel movement. And that's pretty common.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like physically, I've heard you explain it to people, a really great explanation of like what it looks like you're eating and then you're not pooping. Like, can you just give them a visual picture of that? Like you're eating and then
Oh,
it's
the chart.
like
Yeah.
how is it?
So basically, if you kind of think about I just want people to understand, without having to go get an x-ray, the magnitude of the waste that's sitting in their body. Even though you can't see it and you feel like your stomach's not big and you're still wanting to eat, but basically, if you are a person that eats 3 meals a day, and so let's just say Monday you have 3 meals and you don't have a bowel movement Tuesday, and then Tuesday you have 3 more meals, so now you have 6 meals sitting in your body, and then you don't have a bowel movement. We'll just give you Wednesday. So now by Wednesday morning, you have 6 meals sitting in your colon that you've eaten in your body, or just the waste from the meals. But you sit down and you just have a little bit of pellets that come out, or you do have a nice solid bowel movement. But you have to move all of the waste from those 6 meals. And
Mm,
so imagine, every single day that you're doing that, you're just loading up your system. And
wow.
what people don't really realize is that um, that leftover waste, it doesn't just sit there and it's all soft it dries.
Mm.
It dries in the body, and it just cakes up on the walls of the colon. So
And then that
just
would
think,
potentially make you even more constipated, right? Because you're like continuing, you got this waste that's drying, and then
right.
you're
Yeah.
keep adding to it with meals.
Right. You keep adding to it with meals. Or even I like to talk to my clients that have regular bowel movements and they're surprised that they come in and they still have waste come through. Well, the thing is that as we age, our colon slows down. That peristalsis slows down, so it's not really moving things through as it needs to. Plus, if you're not taking in a lot of fiber, yes, you could be having a bowel movement every day, but if you don't have the right, amount of fiber or water in that system to move all of it through,
Mm,
all the rest of it just stays there. Now, obviously, we don't know the scientific, measurement of how much,
right.
waste, but you can think of this. So the waste that's coming through your body is left over from the nutrients that your body needs. So if you're not eating anything that has any nutritional value, every part of that
Oh my
meal is waste.
gosh. And you're really stopped up.
Yeah. So then everything is waste. So if you get a number one from McDonald's, there's no nutrition in that meal. So your
Yeah.
body's like, oh, we don't need any of this. Let's just put it off as waste. And so, if you weigh that number one meal, it's probably about a good, pound, you know. And so don't need to go into all that. But you get the point of what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. If you're not putting in good nutritious stuff, then you're not going to get nutritious stuff out.
right.
The
And it's
waste
gonna
is going to
sit
just
there.
keep piling up. Yeah.
It just keeps piling
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
And I think when I've heard you explain that, it's just like you get a visual of like, oh my gosh, it's just piling up inside of me. And no wonder I feel bloated and feel like I weigh more. And that's, I guess, why people lose weight after they're doing their colonics. They just start. I know that happened for me. And
Yeah.
you had told me, this is going to happen. Like you've been eating right, you've been detoxing and doing all the stuff in your mouth. Now we're going to clean out the colon and just watch this weight's going to drop off of you. And
Right.
after about 5 or 6 colonics, it literally did. Just
Yeah.
about 20 pounds. It felt like it melted off of me, but it was just my body releasing all of the waste and toxins and
Yeah.
things. So,
Absolutely.
I know that people can be kind of skeptical about this because it actually isn't new, though. How long is colonics,
Man,
colon therapy? How long has it even been around?
just like BC. I mean,
Yeah,
it can go back to ancient times, obviously in different forms and things like
right.
that, and it's transformed over the years until this high level devices that we have now. But I mean, it's a form of an enema, and enemas have been around for centuries.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember my
so,
grandmother.
yeah. So yeah, even before then, I mean, they had
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth had, a form of a colonic device, that she had,
Oh
one of her,
really?
yeah, her helpers, one of the first. And so, yeah, it's been around for a very long time, and so, you can go to other states like California, it's pretty big. And that's why, my goal is to really bring it here. I mean, starting in Mansfield, but to really get Texans to understand that,
With
we
all
can
the
also
herbal.
be just as clean as healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's definitely like, a lot of people haven't heard from it. Every day someone's hearing it. And, people don't want to talk about poop. They don't want to talk about
I
their
know,
bowel
right?
movements. Even people with their doctors don't want to talk about their bowel movements. But, it's more important to talk about. I think about this all the time when I used to go to the doctor, and even the doctor outside the gynecologist, when was your last cycle? And I understand they want to know if you're pregnant, but on
Mhm.
that sheet needs to see, when was your last bowel
Last
movement?
yeah.
It needs
I
to
don't
be.
think I've
It's
never
not. It's
had
not.
that on any of questionnaire to
It's
doctors.
not, but that's what needs to be tapped into. And so, a lot of clients come in here and they're like, I'm so embarrassed. This question may be weird. Nothing here is weird, and nothing here should be embarrassing, especially after your first session. I mean, this is more than just helping you get relief. I am here to help educate you, help you realize that your gut health needs to be first and above all other things in your health. Heart health, brain health, yeah, great. But the gut is all tied to both of those organs anyway. And so if we neglect the colon,
Mhm.
then those other things aren't going to work properly. So, um,
True. Very
but
true.
a lot of the skepticism comes from, just what we learned from, dealing with Western medicine. So it's just because it's not really known. And
Yeah.
once people come in, they're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how often or how many do you recommend for a colonic to have? Do people just come in and get one and, hey, I'm good? I know I got 5 to 6. I felt really good. Like how many do you recommend, and like how often do you recommend somebody do one?
Yeah, so the colon is approximately 5 feet long, and I tell people all the time when they come in here, and they're always like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "Wow, you didn't know that?" But I didn't know that either. So, but from end to end, so there's a lot of surface of the colon that needs to be tapped into, and like I said, as the waste sits in and dries, it needs to be broken down. So it's like pouring Drano, in a clogged drain. You just like let it sit there and eat away at it. So it does take more than one session to clean the colon. So people will come in and get a colonic, like, oh, I went and had a colon cleanse. Well, you had a colon rinse off. So we rinsed your colon today. But it takes anywhere from 10 to 14 consecutive sessions
Wow.
in order to completely clean the entire colon.
And by
And so
consecutive, you mean how does
so
that look
like
like?
week after week. And
Week after week.
so yeah, there is a series of colonics, and that's designed. There's a great book called the Colon Health Book by Dr. Norman Walker, and he talks about one all things colon, which is great book to get into. But there's a series in there that's talked about design. So how the series works is that you do 2 the first week back to back, 2 the second week back to back, and then 1 a week for 8 weeks. So that's a series. And so, you'll get the most benefits of just, continuously doing. And so, that's a series, but I always just let people know, anything that you can do, um, and do them as close together as possible, you're going to get the best results. If your ultimate goal is to do a complete colon cleanse. And so, it's important to do that because when you're doing one here, one there, if you haven't completely cleaned the colon is a muscle, and it has a mind of its own
Yeah.
connected to our brain, but it knows like, okay, well, we're not doing anything. Let's just keep holding on to this waste. So you
Yeah.
want to continuously be in a cleansing mode because then your body understands that you're doing something powerful. Like, oh, okay, oh, Ashley's cleansing, Ashley's detoxing. Let's join in this party and let's start focusing on moving out these toxins. It's going to start sending. Then one cool thing is that, anatomy lesson here is that, the liver dumps a lot of toxins and a lot of byproduct or waste product into the colon. And
Hmm.
so the liver is a largest detoxification organ. So once it realizes that the colon is clean out and it has room to dump more toxins, it's going to start, working overtime to help that process. And so you just feel good overall outside of just moving out the waste.
Yeah, I would say that too. Like your energy increases, and fat cells are created because our body's trying to protect ourselves, and
Yeah.
it's encapsulating toxins. So when we're emptying the colon, then it gives our body permission
Hmm.
to release toxins, release those fat cells.
Right.
So, and hence you can lose weight
Yeah.
doing that because you're cleaning everything out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if your colon is congested, the body knows that. The body's like, well, we have to hold this because there's no
Yeah,
room. It's protecting you, like you
yeah.
said. And if there's no room to eliminate the waste, so, and that's another thing we offer infrared sauna. And
Um,
a lot of people, come in because it's hot and they get the sweat and it's relaxing. But we have the sauna here as a form of detoxification.
yeah,
And so, because that's another thing, you want to get it out, of all channels, as best as possible. And so that's really why we have the sauna here is to help with that. So once you've broken up all the waste, moved it through the colon, it's out in the bloodstream. And so you want to, keep flushing it out through sweat or urination. So,
that's awesome
mhm.
that you're combining those two things.
Yeah.
So could you just like share with us maybe one or even two client success stories that you've had? Because maybe some people that are listening can relate to successes that they've had, that could be for themselves too. Was there
Yeah,
any?
absolutely. I mean, we're going into our third year of being in business and open to helping people, which is a huge blessing. And so we've seen hundreds of clients, and like I said, we have the ones that generally just do one, but then there are others who become regulars and either run through a series for whatever reason. And so some of the ones I can really think about right offhand is I had a client who had lost her husband 2 months before she had started doing the series. And so she could not sleep without sleeping pills because of just the anxiety of his death. And so she did 3 consecutive colonics in 1 week, and then came back and did a 4th one the following week, and was sleeping without medication.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so that one really touched me, is because I couldn't imagine, like, just one, you're dealing with the loss, but then not sleeping. But let me just rewind this. She had been dealing with insomnia prior to his death anyway, but the cleanse was just to try to see, she wasn't expecting to be able to do that, but she got off all her sleeping medication, so that was huge.
Wow. Wow,
And
that is huge.
yeah,
And you
and
wouldn't think that that would have to do with sleep, like your colon would
right.
have to
Well,
do with sleep.
because, and I explained to her, I mean, if you're in a toxic overload, at night, what your body's it's fighting to try to heal. But
Mhm.
now what it's doing is trying to help you to move all that waste out of your body. And it's using all of that energy to help to unclog you. And so it's taking away from your recharge system at night. And so once she moved that waste out of her body could no longer had to work, use all of its energy to help with digestion. Now it could start to use to rebuild and heal the other cells. And that just happens when you're in a good deep sleep. And so
Get that.
yeah, so that's that.
And that's huge for so many people, because there are a lot of people nowadays that do suffer with insomnia. So
Right.
that can
Mhm.
be that
Yeah.
could be a remedy for them too, just getting the colon clean and
Yeah.
seeing if that can help them have more restful sleep and be able
Yeah.
to sleep on their own.
Right, absolutely. And I really love the clients that come in that don't have a particular, mission in mind. Like, if they're like, "Oh, I have this, let me come." It's the ones that just do it because they know they want to cleanse, and then it fixes something. I could have a whole
That they
list
didn't
of,
even know.
yeah,
They
that
didn't
they
even
didn't
know they
even,
needed fixed.
right, that they didn't even need fixed. Especially sleep is a huge one. That
Oh,
that
yeah,
one,
that's a huge
yeah.
one.
The sleep is a huge one. I always get clients that tell me, like, I'm sleeping better, and I didn't even know that wasn't sleeping. You know what I mean? And so the sleep is really big. Oh, the skin. Let's just talk
Oh,
about that.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Yes. Skin. People, your skin will love you when you do a colonic. So
So
all of
true.
my, and my men too. But if you're dealing with that dry skin, or that, you feel like your face is not bust out 3 colonics in a row and see how supple.
Yeah.
And the science behind that is the water is going into the colon. It's using it as it needs to move the waste, but the rest of the water, once the colon's done with the water, it kind of just seeps out into the bloodstream, and that water is picked up through the bloodstream and is hydrating your body. So colonics is not only for cleansing, it's huge for hydration it's a full body hydration. And so you're
Wow.
putting water directly into the source. And so, I mean, sometimes you can't get enough water in this way in order to hydrate the colon for all kinds of reasons, but you're putting it directly into the colon where it needs it.
It's getting a big old drink of water.
Big drink of water. Big drink of water. So,
I love
yeah,
it.
nice supple skin from colonics.
I love it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that our mission is with From the Inside Out, and um, doing these interviews, is I want to leave people with something that they can just walk away from listening to this 30-minute session and say, okay, now I can go put this into practice at home. Well, before we do that, I do want to, like, I know, because you and I have had discussions about this, but with the weight loss stuff, and share as much as you want to or not, but there's a lot of people that are out there, like, taking these shots and these things to lose weight.
Right.
And maybe that's somebody here that's listening to this, and this can be, you didn't know that a side effect of it is constipation. But I know that us getting waste and getting all of this out of the body, like, just speak to that, like what you have seen with your clients that have been coming in, that have, because I don't want to leave. I wanted to definitely cover this part, and I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah,
But I
that's okay.
wanted to talk on this part too, because I know there are so many people. It's getting way more popular, and we've already been talking. It's going to get really popular in the new year,
Yeah.
and just what it's doing to your body. It's slowing everything down. But how can colonics be part of that, and what you've seen with clients that it's been able to help them?
As I tell everyone that comes in, only you know the journey that you've been on with your weight loss and your health. Whatever reason you choose to go that route, that's your personal choice. I am here to help people, because even outside of, someone taking a weight loss shot, I mean, I have clients that come in and they don't want to eat right,
Yeah,
and so
same
it's
thing.
at the
Yeah,
end of the yeah, so at the end of the day, it's your personal choice of what you do to your body, but I am here, as a resource to help you and continue to educate you and encourage you to do
yes,
things a
definitely.
natural, right way. But yes, as you explained, the GLP-1 injections do slow down digestion. And
Mhm.
so, and I'm not 100% sure of, like, everyone doesn't want to eat or how that works, but I know that it slows it down. But, and so mostly what I'm seeing is that clients that are coming in that are on the weight loss shot, um, well, actually, I can't say that. At one point, they were not backed up before, but experiencing a backup now, and it's something they're not used to, and so they were
Mm.
coming in. But now I'm also seeing people that were constipated prior to the shot that are that are worse off than what they were after they got the shot, where they can't move anything through. So now it's hitting both types of people,
Wow.
um, and so. I feel like it kind of just going to hinder your weight loss process if you're on the shot, but you can't move anything through. But when clients come in, I do like to educate them, to let them know, especially if they're on the fence about, this is too much, I don't feel well, I don't want to do the shot anymore, to let them know that your body naturally makes the hormone that you're having injected into
Mhm.
your body, and it's made in the gut. So that hormone that tells you, hey, let's stop eating, I'm full, it's made in your gut. And once you repair your gut and heal your gut and treat it the way that it needs to, that hormone is going to start kicking in and working on its own. And
Oh,
it's going to
wow.
start, yeah, it's going to start telling you, hey, you know what, we're full, let's stop eating. It's going to send that signal from down there up to your stomach, to your brain, to say, let's stop eating. Um, but a lot of times, what a lot of people don't realize is that much of the weight they're trying to move out has just been sitting in their colon the entire time anyway.
Mm. That's a very good point. Yeah, because I will say that after I started practicing colonics, that it caused me to not eat as much,
Mhm.
because my body, you're right, yeah,
Yeah,
it's telling you I'm full. I
it's
have
full.
had enough. So
Yeah,
just want to, and I only want to mention that because we both want to just give people alternatives
yeah,
to, we know it can be expensive, like doing the shots, and um, it may not be a permanent solution
right.
for you, where something like this, it can be a permanent solution. And then, Kenya can give you, help you with nutrition and everything too, of how, what do I eat now? So,
But the
um,
cool thing, I just want to say this too, cool,
yeah,
Ashley. The cool thing, though, as an alternative way, because I don't promote colonics as weight loss, and so I think that's
yeah,
where a lot of people don't rush to come to colonics to lose weight. It's promoted as an overall health. We do have fun, and you'll see back there the little board. It's like, pounds of poop loss, and that's just for fun,
yeah.
because people do need to kind of see what's sitting in their body. But the cool thing about this is that if you choose this option, not only will the weight loss be a potential side effect, the other potential side effects, and I'm saying side effects, it sounds negative, but it's a good side effect, is that your health also changes with it.
Yeah,
So everything that you can think about that's tied to your gut, um, those benefits come along with it, versus just losing weight.
yeah.
Just losing, so you're potentially getting shot and you're just losing weight, but what other
Mhm.
health benefits are you gaining from that process? With this, you could be losing weight plus getting great sleep, getting great skin, getting mental clarity, removing brain fog, a whole list of benefits that you can get from it. And I don't have it. I encourage people to get the Colon Health book, because
Yes. I'll put it down in the comments,
because
so that people can
that's going to
really get
show
that.
you every system in
Yes.
your body that's tied to your colon. And just by cleansing the colon, you increase the level of healing or restoration of those other systems within your body. So again, it is a um, full body cleanse, a full body healing just from cleaning that one organ.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so with our podcast, for our listeners, I always want to leave everybody with one tip that they can start using today, and walk away with that. And so, what's one tip that you can share today that people can start using today to help with their colon health?
Okay, great. I thought it was a colon health. Warm water in the morning. So,
Warm water. Okay, warm
warm
water in
water.
the
Yeah,
morning.
a glass of warm water in the morning will stimulate your digestive tract and to get things moving. So, if you feel like you're not pooping regularly and you just like or even still, I don't want to say it's not just for constipated people. Everybody, warm
So, do you need to
water.
heat it up,
No,
or
no.
is it just room temperature, or what?
I would say room temperature if your room is warm. You don't want it, you want it to be, so you can kind of, so not hot like a tea, but not, cold.
Okay.
So anything
Okay,
above
I'm going to try it.
cold.
That'll be a new thing for me to try every
Yeah.
day.
And you'll feel the difference. You'll drink that warm water and you'll start hearing some stuff bubbling and going on in your body. So warm water is to help stimulate digestion in the morning.
So, just one glass of warm water in the
Yep.
mornings.
Yep.
Okay,
And if
everybody.
you're frisky, you can add lemon, but you really don't even need that. Just do warm water.
That's an easy one.
That's
Thank you.
easy.
That's such an easy one.
Very easy. Yeah, it costs nothing.
No, it costs nothing. I love
Mhm.
that tip.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's one thing we can walk away with today
yeah,
to start using. I'll start that tomorrow.
yeah.
So if you are local into the DFW area, I'm gonna put Kenya's website here, cleantouchcolonics.com. You can book your appointments there if you're here local. Follow her at Clean Touch Colonics, right? Is that
Yes.
your
Yeah,
Instagram?
on
Okay.
Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, so follow her there. She always has some great tips on there if you're not local to us. And then just go Google it and see what colonics place you have in your area and see if you want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add
Yeah,
today
also,
to your
you're free. Our number's on our website, but like if you're not in the area, call me. I can help you find a very reputable therapist in your area, whether it's open session or closed session. And if you have questions, about those two, I can help with that. But you just have, want to find like I'm International Association of Colon Hydrotherapy board certified, and so you want to find someone who's taken the time to get educated. And so, again, if you need help with finding a therapist in your area, feel free to call me.
Yes, she's got all the connections.
Yeah, I got all the connections.
Yes, and she's such a giver, y'all. She really is such a giver. That's why I love her so much.
Aw.
She's always giving to other people, and she's always looking for a need and an opportunity to serve other people. So that's one thing I love about you is your servant's heart.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being my first guest on our
Congratulations.
interviews. Yes, and stay tuned for more. I'll have some more interviews with some fabulous people. Thank y'all for being with us, and have an amazing day. Feeling good from the inside out.